And so, again, after Pearl Harbor, there was you've seen pictures. You've seen pictures of guys wrapped around the block waiting to go to the recruiting office, and he goes to the recruiting office. He can't go in at first. Eventually he gets in. It takes him a month to get in, and then he's off to boot camp. And we've seen all kinds of representations in books and in movies of Marine Corps boot camp and in boot camp in general. But I just had to hit on this one a little bit because it's just another perspective that shows you his view of it and gave me not even a better understanding, a clearer understanding of what people are going through when they're going through boot camp. And I remember this about boot camp. We had to write something when I was going through boot camp. And I don't know if I've talked about this before, but when we were going through boot camp, they said, hey, write down, the top 3 things you're learning, right?
You had to.
We all had to.
Okay.
This is a Navy boot camp. And I wrote down something along the lines of, the brainwashing seems very effective, right?
How old are you? 18?
I was 18 or 9. I think I just turned 19. And that's because I was a rebellious kid, right? Yeah. And so I'm thinking they're brainwashing us. And I wasn't against it. Yeah. It was kind of one of those statements where I was saying, I was kind of being sarcastic, but I was also kind of being truthful.
We call that cracking but facking.
Okay, we'll roll with that. So that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I remember they didn't say anything about anything anyone had written about what we were learning or whatever. They called that one out. The chiefs that were running my boot camp company, they were, said, and if you think you're getting brainwashed, you know what? This is what's going to save you. And they went on this big thing to counter my assessment. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of that here in what Leckie's saying. Mm-hmm. He says the same kind of thing, and he gets to the same place. But here we go, going to the book. They're at boot camp, Marine Corps boot camp in Dock. And here we go. Sergeant Bellow marched us to the quartermasters. It was there we stripped off all vestiges of personality. It is the quartermasters. So if you don't know, a quartermaster in the military is someone that basically runs supply. They give you gear. That's what they are. So it is the quartermasters who make soldiers, sailors, and Marines. In their presence, one strips down. With each divestment, a trait is lost. The discard of a garment marks the quiet death of an idiosyncrasy. I take off my socks. Gone is a propensity for stripes or clocks or checks or even solids. And it is a tendency to combine purple socks with a brown tie. My socks henceforth will be tan. They will neither be soiled, nor rolled, nor gaudy, nor restrained, nor holy. They will be tan. The only other thing they may be is clean. So it is with it all until one stands naked, struggling with an embarrassment that is entirely lost on the laconic shades who work in the quartermaster sheds. Thus naked, thus quivering, a man is defenseless before the quartermaster. Character clings to clothes that have gone into the discard. As skin and hair stick to adhesive tape, it is torn from you. Then the quartermaster shades swarm over you with measuring tape. A cascade of clothes falls upon you, washing you clean of personality. When you have emerged from this, you are but a number. 3, Fife, 1, Tree, Niner, 1. United States Marine Corps. 20 minutes before, there had stood in your place a human being surrounded by some 60 other human beings. But now there stood one number among 60 others, the sum of all to be a training platoon. But the parts have no meaning except in the context of the whole. So there's a little psychological reason why they do that, how they do it. And you can see it works. You know all those little things that you have, all the little things that make you you, we're going to take them away. That's what we're going to do. And there's this weird thing because when I went through boot camp, I wanted that.
Yeah.
Take it away from me. And I've said this before on the podcast. It's a blank slate. When you go into boot camp, they shave your head, they take your clothes, they take all that personal stuff, and you get a blank slate. They tell you, like, this is all you need to do to succeed here. Mm-hmm. All that stuff you've done in the past, you're knucklehead, we don't care. Here's what you got to do now. And it's awesome. And for a lot of people, myself included, you're becoming part of something that's bigger than you. And that's a good feeling. You know, it's a good feeling. I liked it. I'd go so far as to say I loved it. And they do the same thing. By the way, they do the same thing to you. Like when you get to your SEAL training class, to your BUDS class, you get your head shaved again. You get another set of uniforms. You're all going to dress the same. You're all going to look the same.
Yeah, I think that head shaving thing would really do it for a lot of people.
For sure.
Just because that's some people's whole personality. You know, their hair.
Sure.
It's like, dang.
They like that hair. Now, of course, fast forwarding a little bit, but I found this interesting. Back to the book. In 6 weeks of training, there seemed not to exist a single pattern apart from meals. All seemed chaos, marching, drilling in manual of arms, listening to lectures on military courtesy, and saluting the right hand will strike the head at 45-degree angle midway from the right eye. Listening to lectures on marine jargon. From now on, everything, floor, street, ground, everything is the deck. Cleaning and polishing one's rifle until it shone like an ornament, shaving daily, whether hairy or beardless. It was all a jumble. What are we going to do? Salute the Japs to death? No, we're going to blind them with spit and polish. Yeah, or barber the bastards. All the logic seemed to be on our side. The Marine Corps seemed a madness. So they're thinking, what are we getting out of this? Right. You want us to polish? How about you teach us how to shoot the rifle?
Yeah.
Continuing on, it was a madness, but it was discipline. Apart from us recruits, no one in Paris Island seemed to care for anything but discipline. There was absolutely no talk of war. We heard no fiery lectures about killing Japs, such as we were to hear later on in New River, which is a place where they go to train. Everything but discipline. Marine Corps discipline was steadfastly mocked and ridiculed, be it holiness or high finance. These drill instructors were dedicated martinets, like the sensualist who feels that if a thing cannot be eaten, drunk, or taken to bed, it does not exist. So were these martinets in their outlook. All was discipline. There you go. That word struck me, martinets. So I did a little, I looked it up, sure. And the etymology of it is there was a French general that created a certain type of drill, close order drill procedures, and his name was General Jean Martinet. So that's where that word comes from, and it means that you're strict disciplinarian.
Wouldn't it be Martinet?
Martinet, I guess so. Sure. For those that speak French.
French-Canadian background right here.
Did not know that.
True story.
Oh, that's right, because you were friends with Jody Middick. You and him bonded.
Yeah, we bonded.
Over your Canadian roots.
100%, yep.
Nice. Another great example or great paragraph about what this feels like. Back to the book. It is a process of surrender. At every turn, at every hour, it seemed a habit or a preference had to be given up. An adjustment had to be made. Even in the mess hall, we learned that nothing mattered so little as a man's own likes or dislikes. And I think that's what it is. That's what's so cool that's what I loved, right? When you join the military, it's all stripped away. All these little comforts that you have, they strip them away. And you're left with the raw self, right? The raw self, that's what you're left with. And you start putting everything else above yourself. It's a very humbling process. Back to the book. Worst in all this process of surrender was the ruthless refusal to permit a man the slightest privacy. Everything was done in the open. Rising, waking, writing letters, receiving mails, receiving mail, making beds, washing, shaving, combing one's hair, emptying one's bowels. All was done in public and shaped to the style and stricture of the sergeant. So that one right there, going to the bathroom, and you get to, like, in Navy boot camp, the first time you go in the bathroom, there's just toilets. There's no doors. There's no walls. Dang. Just 30 toilets in a row.
Dang, prison style.
Prison style. And you're actually, prisons have you only in there with your little roommate.
Not even prison style. Dang.
You sit down to go, and by the way, you can't say I'm going to wait till no one else is in there, because they give you, you have to go from this to this to this, and then, okay, we're back in the barracks. You can go to the bathroom now. Yeah. So there you go. You're going to sit down 18 inches from some other dude that's going to the bathroom, that's emptying his bowels.
Yeah.
And there's no privacy. Yeah. And those, I mean, you may have never taken a crap in front of another human being. Most people haven't. Why would you? So you have this little sanctuary, right? Yeah. Where you got to get private. Yeah. Gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. All exposed. Stripped away.
Yeah. It's kind of how football is, by the way. I mean,
okay.
But thing is, football, that's kind of like, it's cool to do that. Like the coaches don't make you do that. It's just like, if you're shy, or that kind of thing. Like some guys.
They didn't have stalls?
They did, but yeah, they did. They did. But like the point is, like, it was kind of like the cool culture. So guys wouldn't close the stall. Or if there was a shy guy who didn't want to shower, he'd go to his like room and shower. They'd be like, that guy, Yeah. So it was like, the more open and like whatever you were, the cooler it kind of was. But that's what it did. Just so if you were shy,
cohesiveness. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you came in shy, it's like you'd have that feeling,
Yeah.
But man, I dig it. It's true.
I actually remember that, because I was whatever I was, 19 years old, sitting down next to a dude for the first time, taking a crap. Mm-hmm. I'd never done that before. Right. Why would you do that?
Yeah,
you have your own little private world. You have your own little private space. This is my little time. No, it's not. Not your private time. Back to the book. If you are undone in Parris Island, which is where Marine Corps boot camp is, or one of them, there's also one here in San Diego. If you are undone in Parris Island, taken apart in those first few weeks, it is at the rifle range that they start to put you together again. So and he goes into some pretty good, he talks about now the rebuilding. Mm-hmm. And finally, and again, it's great details, great information, very cool read, very cool perspective. That's why you get the book and read it. Back to the book. In 5 weeks, they had made us over. Another week of training remained, but the desired change already had taken place. Most important in this transformation was not the hardening of my flesh or the sharpening of my eyes, but the new attitude of mind. I was a Marine.